As we discussed in the previous module, the authorized agent of a political entity is responsible for ensuring that contributions are in accordance with the rules of the Canada Elections Act. If the political entity receives an ineligible contribution, it has to be returned to the contributor or remitted to Elections Canada payable to the Receiver General for Canada. However, before returning an ineligible contribution, the agent has to verify if the contribution was used because that determines the way it has to be dealt with. For monetary contributions, used means the money was spent and the bank account balance dipped below the ineligible amount at any time after the contribution was deposited. For non-monetary contributions, it means the property or service was used. Let's look at a few basic scenarios illustrating how to return or remit ineligible contributions. A political entity